Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in once again. So we are back on our Street Machine group build hosted by Jason over at Blue Ox Models. You guys need to get in on this if you are not. There's a lot of guys in on it. This is year number 2 that he has hosted this. So Jason, I really appreciate that. So this year I am working on the... What was I working on? The 1977 Mustang 2 Python. Yeah, that's right. That's what we're working on. I got a lot of projects sitting on the bench here, so trying to keep track of things. And I did a massive cleanup in here the other night because it was starting to get to where it was like, I couldn't find nothing. I'm running into, I can't work. I have to have it cleaned. So anyways, we got it cleaned up, and I found some stuff that I really wasn't looking for, but it was like, oh, I forgot about, you guys know you get these projects that you put away in the box for a while for some reason. Yeah, now I'm digging all this out. So the cleaning part took 5 times longer than it should have, because now I'm like digging through stuff, looking at stuff, sitting there like, oh, look at this. That's just how it goes. Anyways, back to the Mustang. We're getting off a little bit of a tangent there, so that's okay. We are back on this Mustang here. So I had to re-primer it because I had a few spots in the body I wasn't really happy with. I figured, what, before we paint it, might as well make it look pretty, So we went through and did a little sanding on it and reshot the primer. And I got the grill and the taillights filled in really good because I kind of missed those last time. I was trying to be kind of short on it, and I didn't really want to mix up more, and like, it's good enough. But as I'm looking at it, I want to leave those black. On the silver car, I think will look really, really sharp. So that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it over the bench. We're going to mask this off where this wide body kit is. It's kind of like a wide body, if you will. And we're going to do mask off behind it because I want a black behind there. So when you're looking through the side, you'll see the black in there, not the silver. So I think that'll look really cool. And then we're going to go through and we're going to just paint the whole thing. Now they do give you the option for the hatch to be open or closed. I am going to leave it closed. And the reason why, I'm going to leave the 6-cylinder engine that's in it. And I'm not going to detail the engine pretty much at all. It is what it is under the hood. So there's no sense doing all kinds of work and opening the hatch if the engine bay is going to stay closed probably most of the time. Just saying. So plus there's no hinges on the hood. It just kind of sits there. So I don't know. I may alter it a little bit to where it's not box stock. I'm not sure. It's a nostalgic kit, so I don't want to mess with it too much, just because it's a kind of a rare kit, I think. I know a lot of you guys have mentioned before, I got one of those, but I've never seen one. So I know there's not a lot of them out there, because I know this wasn't that popular of a car, per se. I like the car. I think it's kind of cool looking. Would I buy one? I don't know. It depends. Depends on the price. But I have seen some of these pretty cool. The King Cobra ones I think are really cool looking, the black with the orange. That's sharp looking. That's cool looking. And yes, it's the graphics. The graphics make the car. But other than that, like I say, I'm going to glue this down. Basically, I'm going to take a strip of styrene, put on here, and attach that to there so it has something to glue to, because there's no frame around there at all. So if you set that hatch on there, basically it'll just fall through. So I'm going to put just a piece there, and I'll tack it here just in a couple spots, just enough to hold it. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So let's go to the bench and let's see what we can do with this thing. Alright guys, so like I say, we got this primered back up again. This is pretty smooth. I don't even think I'm going to wet sand it. It's pretty nice. I didn't reshoot the hood or the roof or anything like that. I just did the side. This was pretty gnarly through here, so I put a little bit of body filler in here just to kind of smooth it out. Sanded it down and did all the good thing. And like I mentioned before, guys, I like to when I primer, I'll leave it sit for at least a couple days. Even if you put it in the oven and bake it, even though you think it feels like it's dry to the touch, but when you go to paint, you find you get that kind of that hazing like a day later. That's because that bottom layer primer is still gassing out and it goes through your paint and flattens it. So yeah, and when you're painting, you find the paint's almost like just sucking into it. That's because it's not dry. So like I say, I like to let it set for a couple days. That's me, but that's usually how I do it. These are actually pretty ingenious how they got the sitting, because you'll see a little spot right here. Right inside here. That is where it hooks onto the inner lip of the fender. So it's pretty ingenious. Once you put it in place, it actually locks in there really good. As you can see, it sits in there like so. and it sits in there nice and snug and tight. I mean, it really doesn't go anywhere. So that body, the door line lines up really nice, all that good stuff. So like I say, I want to leave that black inside there. As you can see, that stays open the whole time. So I want to leave that black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask it straight off here. So this is black all the way down. And then obviously you have your bumper that sits in here. That's going to sit like so. But yeah, so it's kind of cool looking. It's different. Yeah, so, okay. So we'll get this masked up. Okay guys, starting up on that dash and interior. So just doing a little bit of side detail here. There's a little bit of a prancing pony here. Just your window crank looks like for the mirrors. Light for the door. So we're going to detail this. And I started on the dash. Most of these I've seen. I've worked on a few of these cars. They always had like just a almost like a brushed aluminum looking dash. I believe this here was like a wood grain color in here. And same as in here. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, just because I'm not fond of that look. I know it's kind of period correct for that, but we're going to leave that. So what we're going to do here is now I'm going to take in, because I like the edge of that chrome, those just the rings. So I'm going to take the Molotow and I'm going to fill this in. And I'm going to let that dry, and then we're going to go and then do the black in the center with the orange gauges. I think that look pretty sharp. So the paint should be about there. I just got to figure out what I'm doing on the bottom here yet. So I'll just take this here. So I want the outer edge of that ring chrome. Ever so careful like. I want the inside of this chrome on the inner edge. Alright, so we got the dash done. A little gauge work done. It's kind of hard to see through the steering wheel. So we got the console all set. We'll get this flipped in here. I'll assemble this interior. I did a little trim work on the side. Nothing too magic. And we'll get it put together. Alright guys, so we got the interior tub done. It didn't turn out too bad. You know, the dash sits so far back, you really can't see much of the gauges. They turned out pretty cool. I mean, I like them. They look alright. Not super detailed, but just enough to get the job done. You can really hardly even see it in there. So yeah, and I know a lot of these cars had wood grain on the sides and on the bottom of the dash, but it's a sports car, so the wood grain's out. We went with black. I think that looks nicer. Modernized it a little bit. So you can see my pleather seats. They're a little different color than the interior. A little more shine to them. That's what I was looking for. And we left the carpet a little bit transparent with the black, just to give it kind of a different hue for the, you know, just a little color change. So I got some floor mats in there. Just took some of my, I got this material here. This works pretty good. So I got a super strong adhesive on it. So I just cut this out, just a little piece here. And it's almost like a velvet, very fine felt type thing. This is actually for a Ford recall, so I don't even know where you buy the stuff really, but anyways, so that works good. And I take a decal off some model somewhere, and those decals come from the what was that, the Coronet convertible kit, because I had a really nice decal sheet. So I ended up taking just cutting the decal out, you know, not water sliding or nothing, and just leave the backing on it, and just put just a drop of CA on there and stuck them on there. So it gives it kind of like a like we got some fancy floor mat in there. So pretty cool looking. So the interior is basically done at this point. Like I say, it's not my favorite, but it'll serve the purpose. It's pretty buried in the car once it's tucked in there. It's got kind of a chintzy steering wheel. Like I said, I'm kind of leaving it box stock to a point, just for the nostalgic, you know, part of the car, I guess, if you want that route. But we are changing a few things, so it will not be complete box stock. I will leave it at that. So, yeah, so that part's done. It's okay. It's going to look all right. It's going to do the job. It's going to serve the purpose. And next we're going to move on is to the front spoiler, chin splitter, front end piece, whatever you want to refer it to. So this sits on the car like so, and the lights on the bottom, they give you, I believe they call them like a driving light on the bottom. So if you look at the chrome tree, which is getting kind of scarce, because there wasn't much to start with, these lights here, those rectangular lights right there, there's two of them. Those go in here. and I thought it was kind of chintzy looking. So we're gonna do something different. So I'm gonna mock this up now, and then once I paint it and everything's all good to go, clear it in the whole 9 yards, I'm gonna put a piece of bare metal foil in the bottom, just flat on the bottom. Just cut the square just perfectly out. Once this is painted, I'm gonna apply that foil and then put a little bit of Tamiya clear orange in there and make them like a parking light. And then I'm gonna take some clear styrene plastic sheet. I have some of this evergreen. This is 9006. Yeah, looking at the price, you can tell I've had this for a long time because I think this is now like $7 or $8 a piece, something like that. So, yeah. So anyways, we're going to put that over top and give it some depth. I think it'll look pretty cool. Yeah, I know it's supposed to be a driving light, but not on my car. It's going to be a running light. We're going to put some parking lights on it, basically. So, you know, some Fonzies. So back in the day, you know, everybody used to cruise town and all the stuff, and so we always called it, you know, hey man, you got your Fonzies on? And, you know, people are like, what do you call them Fonzies? Because they're cool. So yeah, awesome stuff. But anyways, yeah, because you always cruise with your parking lights on, you know, because that was the way it was. So anyways, that's what we're going to do to this. We're going to get it painted along with the rest of the parts and kind of go from there. So like I mentioned before, I'm not going to leave that hatch open. So what I did is I applied just a small strip of styrene in there. So just a piece of flat styrene. So now this has something to sit on once you put this down. And this will not sit in here. I have to, this is a two-hand project. But you can see now it has something to rest against up top once I put that in there. It just wants to slide out there, just the angle of it. But it is functional. It will work pretty good. Try this one hand here. There we go. Nope. Okay. That's how we got it. But anyways, I'll just put a tack of glue across there once it's all painted and go from there. Because I would have to leave something like that anyways to put a hinge on it. And I really don't want to hinge it because I'd have to put something to make it look like it's being held up with something. You know, like struts or something like that. Because these cars had struts on originally. So, okay guys, we'll just give everything a nice wash after manhandling everything. Yeah, so we're going to get these dried up. And then we're going to get those sides masked off for that paint where it's black on the back side. So like I said, I want black behind these pieces here. So what I did is I put tape on there and then we just went about. So this is the front piece. So I want it to overlap just a little bit. Just kind of give it that depth. So it sits in about like so. So once we paint that silver, obviously this will be silver and this will just remain black. So when you're looking in there, it'll look like it's black all the way through. And same as the back. Now the back is open. So same thing here. I got about the same amount. So once you look inside that, that should remain black. And we did the black all the way to the end on the outside. So I'm going to do this side obviously. And I'll show you how I was doing these. So I take this here to start with. So this is our back one. Like I say, they got this nice little notch it sits into. So it fits real nice inside the wheel well. So I'm just taking a piece of the Tamiya tape all the way across. And we're just laying this across here. Because that fits perfect across there. And then we're going to just take the tape and skew it a little bit to the top here. Just so it's right at the top edge. That way when we look at it, it's about level with this up here. And down here. So now we're just eyeballing it. Because that's how we roll here. So we might as well cut this off while we're here. So all I'm doing is just drawing a line on it. And this is the part that's kind of crucial is around the wheel well because it helps me line everything up. Especially that I have it skewed upward just a little bit. Just nice little line. Nice little smooth line. Little happy line. Something like that. And now we went about this far from here. So basically just kind of followed the body line. So I took it kind of just here. Nothing crazy. Just kind of like say followed that body line there. It's like that. So we're going to cut that out and just stick that bad boy on there, and that'll be it for that. Sounds good in theory, but that's how we're doing it. So we'll get this cut out and then we'll test fit it. Make sure everybody's all cool and happy. So we'll first get rid of this guy. Then we'll go through here. Trying to keep it somewhat smooth. Like that. Come around here. This don't have to be perfect, just enough to follow the line. Something like that. Take her and apply it to the car. Now I know from the other side, I need to keep that perfectly aligned with that door, or with that fender line. So I kind of started this side first, and then this had to be up here. There's a couple trial and error type things to make sure it sat right. And as we're looking, obviously we're not far enough, or I cut that too short, one or the other. Probably cut it too short. So that's how it usually goes. So that's kind of tricky because it's really thin here. Okay, there we go. Let's move this back. Which way do we hold it? Don't you hate that? You always like rotating it, trying to get the best option here. Man, I'd like I didn't even move it. So what we're gonna do is just take and while it's still somewhat attached there, hopefully keep it somewhat nice. And before I burnish the rest of that down, we're just gonna kind of give it a quick test fit. I'm just worried about this right now. So I want to make sure it's somewhat close to the other side, and the body line is just about following the curvature of the kit. That looks pretty good. Alright guys, so we did the same thing here. Set the tape across there and pretty much just cut it out, or traced it. So we just cut it. We got that side looking pretty good. So now with that sitting on there, I add an extra piece just to kind of roll up the top. So that looks pretty good there. Alright, we'll peel this out of here, get this laid down. And we'll be ready to get her all set up and paint this thing. Alright, I'll get this straightened around so I don't bore you to death with it. Okay, so we got that last piece on. So let's give this a quick burnish down. Okay, we should be ready for paint. So I want to keep this black. I'm not worried about this because my headlights will cover that. And I want to keep the back of this black. So I was trying to figure out how the best way to do that. And I think I come up with a good solution. I think I did anyways. So we're going to take the headlights, or the front grille assembly that would go into the kit. And we're just going to put that in place. So that'll cover that up nice for me. So on top of that, before I put this in, I'm going to take and run a piece of tape around here, and hopefully that acts like a gasket to keep massive overspray from going in there. I'm hoping anyways. And we're going to do the same with the tail lights. Because I want to leave it black here, but I thought, man, I really wasn't sure the best way to tape that off or mask it. So I figured, you know, that I'll use the lights as a mask for me, and I think that would work pretty good. So that's what we're going to try. Like I said, we're just going to do one quick, easy swipe around. Like I say, if a little goes in there, not a big deal. You know, I can try to hopefully wipe it out. All that kind of stuff. Now this I do want to leave flat. So I can leave this in during multiple applications of whatever. And if need be, I can take it out and, you know, work it back in and whatnot. Just gonna go around here, and like I say, hopefully this acts like just enough thickness, because it is a tight fit already. Kind of give it like that little barrier, like a gasket going in there, something like that. I'll just give that a nice push in there. Hopefully I'll peel the tape off. Oh yeah, that's a nice snug fit. Yeah, she's not coming out. So now we can just paint right over top of that. And we're going to do the same thing to the taillights. I just got to find what I did with them. Ah, here we go. Okay, same thing, taillights. Nice wrap around the light. and hopefully will seal the deal for me. Well, a nice fit. Fold that in, looking good, looking good. Okay, like so. There, it seals that all up. Okay, get everything on skews and bring it back. We'll mix some paint and we'll get this put on in the paint booth. All right, guys, so we are getting ready to mix this up. So we're using our standard 50-50 mix. So we're using the Iconic Silver by MCW. This is 202032E for enamel. Yes, this is enamel gloss, so we have it all mixed up. She's looking nice and pretty. And we're using our Rainbow Tears, Unicorn Tears, Mr. Leveling Thinner. This is T108. I remembered it this time. Yep, so that's what we got going. And we're going to use our Mr. Hardener here. This is MCW. This is 1003E for enamel hardener. And yeah, so that's how we're going to do it. So like I said, we're going to do a 50-50 mix. So we got a lot of parts to spray here, so I'm probably going to go 7.5 and then 7.5. And we're going to do about 3.5 milliliters of hardener. That should make her up pretty good. So let's get started and get mixing her up here. So we got our pipettes, however you want to say it. And I always mentioned before, I like to just do it this way here because it seems like you just, when you dump it, it just spills all over the place. Quick, simple, easy. Okay, we have 7.5 of there. So we're going to take our Iconic Silver. Ooh, pretty. So we're going to use the other pipette for that. This is a cool color paint. I really like this. It sprays very nice. Okay, so there's our mix. Looking good. So you have it. We have our 7.5 of our Mr. Color Leveling Thinner and 7.5 of paint. Okay, so we can dump this in here and we can save that cup. And now we're going to take our hardener. We're going to take another pipette here. We're going to take some hardener. I have some in a jar here. It just makes things a lot easier. There's 3. We're actually just we're going to put 4 in it. There's 4. That should do the job. And we throw that away, just so it doesn't get tangled with something else. Okay, we give that a good mix and we should be good to go. Alright, we'll take over paint booth and we'll get spraying this bad boy. Alright guys, so we got her going here. I did a quick test shot on a spoon. So we're just giving these a few light coats. We're not painting it the first time around. This silver covers pretty good. So like I said, we'll just give it a few light shots. And we'll move on to the next piece here. So the bumper was a little harder to fill in just because of that line in there. So this may get a few applications. Like I say, just a nice few hits. Same as the front valance. So these side skirts, the wide body part, I had to be careful going around some of the edges because I didn't want it to pool or zebra stripe with the metallic, because this does have a lot of flake in it. Just to be careful going all the way around it. So I give these some light coats, and I kind of hit these multiple times. In the video here I'm only showing you basically a couple runs, and that was it on it. Little hood scoop. I originally was planning on keeping it black to match the grille and the headlights, but I thought, you know what, I think it just looked good, just silver the whole thing out, call it good. So the hood sprayed out really nice. Like I say, just a few light shots. So we are running, like I mentioned earlier, we're running 18 psi with a 0.3 needle. Body shot really good. I was trying not to get it too thick on the body. I'm always leery of tape sometimes, especially over top of a body line. So hopefully my burnishing job held out really well to keep that from wicking up underneath the paint. The Tamiya tape works usually pretty good. It's usually pretty decent from getting bleed under. very rarely get anything like that as long as you take care of it and burnish it good. So the body, we've got a few coats already, and we let it tack up and set, and then after this we're going to go back and probably spray all the parts again for their final coat. So like I say, these have had multiple shots doing all the different flares here. So these are their final hits. Same as the hood, this will be its final paint job here. Like I said, it turned out pretty sharp. And always I give it kind of a wet coat with metallic. You always got to be careful, you can't go too wet because you'll get that, they refer to it as zebraing or striping. Same as the body. Just give that one final hit. And I am curious to see how that's going to look with that tape out there and those flares put back on. Hopefully it should look pretty sharp. And the next trick will be is once I get this all done, that I can pop those other pieces out. So other than that, she looks pretty good, and we'll wrap it up from there. Well guys, we got our Mustang 2 all painted up nicely. Painted pretty good. It's in the oven just sitting there. I don't turn it on. I let the leveling thinner do its job. And tomorrow, once it cures a little bit, I'll come out and take the tape off it, and we'll see how that turned out. So I'm thinking that should look pretty sharp. So hopefully don't have much bleed under. I like to let it set for a little bit, then take them off before it gets too long, just so it doesn't have a chance to wick up underneath there. But we'll see. I might take them off here in just a little bit. We'll go from there. So other than that, I appreciate you guys watching, tuning into the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next video, and we'll get some more progress done on this thing. Go down and check out Hobby Nut Models, and yeah, other than that, you guys have a good one, and appreciate you watching. Have a good one.